Meanwhile, you can choose a time slot for our midterm report. These are the available time slots. One of them is taken already. The 27th of March from 17 to 19 is for neljapäevalised. So Merili, write down your availabilities. What are you doing, Merili? Please also share your screen. Van, what are you doing? Oh, now I'm seeing Van's screen. Calendars, no items found. If you refresh, is the stand the same? Because accidentally this afternoon I deleted the calendar and I recreated it. Maybe this is the reason. Here I clicked delete and it was gone, and I was shocked. But it was very easy to restore it. Visibility settings. Merili, can you see the calendar in Open Project? No. But if you create that calendar for your yeah, it was before I deleted it. So just click plus calendar and see what happens. Okay. This is how you can get back the calendar if if I might delete it again. And Vahan, you too go into that spreadsheet file and put that information into the columns when are your availabilities for the midterm report. So the dates are 24, 27, 28, 29 and 30. You can make these columns wider. Just double click in the column border, or the border between two columns. Yes, these are from Friday to Thursday. One, please also open room 4 XLSX and yes, no, I cannot hear you. Merily, is that all? 24? Okay, we have 4 options. Now it depends on one's input. Hans is back. And he is back. But we don't know whether he's back with voice. Meanwhile, the final presentation time is fixed. It is the 16th of May between 1700 and 1900. The room is not known yet, but we know what are the other projects with us in the same session. Utopian Visions, preparing interactive education support materials for youngsters, and marketing materials for the digital learning something program. And that meeting is also an open project now. And for the midterm report, we need to prepare our presentation. You probably got an email from Greta, and she states that how much time we have for our presentation. Altogether 35 minutes, if I remember correctly. Yes, 35 minutes. So 15 minutes is our group presentation, 10 minutes for discussion and feedback in groups, and 10 minutes for feedback from the university lecturer. And here we can also create a poll. Poll option 1. Now I can hear you. Maybe you can join from both sources, because you could share your screen in your large computer, and yes, and the voice comes through the phone. You need to turn off the microphone in your main computer. And depending where your speaker is, in one source you need to turn off the speaker as well. Otherwise there is echo. Now it is fine. Uh-huh. 29 and 30. Okay, both time slots from 10 to 12 and 14 to 16 at 20 on 27th. So if it is so, then now we have 1, 2, 3 options. And if Vlad joins us, then we can ask him as well. So, and these options are the 27th of March from 14 to 16, 28th of March from 14 to 16, and 29th of March from 17 to 19. We were also discussing some general topics yesterday with people of the other group. One question from me to you is, what have you learned so far in our project, if anything at all? What about math have you learned? No. So you were combining triangles. And got 0 of something. That's interesting math. So, Vahan, what have you learned so far? How familiar are you now with the software we are using? Open Project, Nextcloud, Open Science Foundation, and so on. What about you, Merili, regarding software? So here in open project, there are so many reports, actually all of your reports having activity as management, although mostly, if not all of them, should be development. Do you know what's the difference between them? Yes? No? So development is if you management is if you organize a meeting or something like that, and development is the creation process. Have you lost me? Hmm. So I guess for a while Merrill did lost me. A couple of days ago we had a session in optics, and our teacher wanted to use Zoom for me because I could not be there, and my voice just did not come through. Or no, it was the other way around. So I proposed to use Jitsi, and in Jitsi everything just worked fine. Okay, this here, Merrily, you need to change all management into development, and you should also write the comments. For instance, here you have reported 4 hours. Here you choose development. If it was development, if it was testing, then testing. And into comment field, you write what exactly you did, because we want to compare how much time you are spending to what type of activities. Otherwise, we cannot do that. And if necessary, you can also divide it into many time logs. For instance, 1 hour, 2.5 hours, and half an hour instead of 1 4 hour. So let us have a look at Vahan's report as well. Here's the same problem. All these managements have to be turned into developments, and comments need to be added. Yes. I don't know. I guess not. We can check it inside the activity part and see when you have reported anything. It should have been a very long time ago. Maybe even not in February. Was it in January? It was on 17th of January. Here are your reports, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is about spent time. Why did you ask? Have you noticed something changed? You should do it yourself. So for every time log, there is that pencil icon. So if you click it, then you can change the parameters, the values for the parameters, and you can also click the bin icon, which deletes that time log. No. No. Now I see. Maybe the best view is if you remove week spent and work package from group by section. Yes. And remove that. Yes. And click apply. Now you have the list. Anyway, you need to go through all of them, all of these 6, because you have not commented anything, and there are strange numbers like 8 hours and 4 hours. So just be precise. I don't know, we need to click them through, then here is creation, maybe revising. Let me see. If I use the middle mouse button, I can open it in a new tab, so I do not lose that view. But here is no comment, probably not this one, but I can see who has reported. No, here is only ons, not this one. This one seems to be correct. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it is removed already, because I added the same comment to Vlad. Maybe he fixed something. And then there was a strange time log. It was a meeting arranged by Vlad, and he was the only participant because no one else is reported. Okay, so now you know what you need to do with your time logs. It is actually the quality that counts. So we need to have a quality product by the end of the project, no matter how much time it takes. And it depends on you how efficient you are. This is also a reason why I invented this new method that I wanted to introduce to you today, because this way I have proven that you can manage all the tasks within just maybe 8 hours. So I spent 4 hours for writing out multiple facts for all the SDGs. If I could do it, you could also do it. The reason behind that efficiency is that I had found a great source, and using that only source, I could write out so many facts that are appealing. And today I also went through your reported sources and facts, and did some arrangements. So altogether it took me 7 hours. But there is a contra example where one member of the other group spent 5 hours just for finding a fact for one SDG. So this is the difference, how to make the work efficient. You can spend many hours on one SDG, or you can do many things at the same time. And I think that the new method works better because using that method, you do the same type of activity on all the SDGs. Then you do the next type of activity on all the SDGs. Because if you are managing all of your tasks separately, then it just takes a lot more time. And I had calculated 140 for content creation and 16 hours for management as a rough estimation. I don't know how it would turn out at the end of the project. But there are two scales. One is quantitative, one is qualitative. The quantitative means that we need to have all SDGs covered. And the qualitative is that we need to have appealing qualitative stories for players. If these conditions are met, then the goal has been also met. Our responsibility is to guarantee the success of the project. We cannot afford failing. I cannot afford failing. What could be project failing? The whole project failing. What could it be? Yes, this is a good example of goals not met. And this is also why I introduced this new method. That I'm going to talk about it soon in this very meeting. So as I am doing it for the first time, then I am constantly in an adoption process. So if something does not work as expected, I change something and I test out something else. So first I had imagined that we need to go out from, what was that, a math problem first, and SDG came later. Then I thought that the other way around, it is better to start off with SDG and the fact. And now I saw that even if I asked to fill in the table, almost no one did it. So I did it myself. And I hope that this method now is working. That we do not know that. We need to test it out. And by the end of the day, we need to come to the situation where the goal is met, no matter what. Maybe we cannot afford validation by MathCityMap people if we don't have enough time for that. And this is pretty real, that the level 5 cannot be achieved during this project. However, we still need to involve external testers, and this is what we can also do within our university. We just need to tell an invitation using multiple channels and arrange these play sessions in April. And before that, we need to validate these trails amongst us so that we can offer them quality trails. And there was also a suggestion from a member from the other group that as we are not 9 people anymore, but less people, then maybe we should not cover 18 SDGs per group, but 18 SDGs per all of us. I am seeing that, so this is one possible solution how to lessen the risk of failing. This is also an option to refine tasks so that they have a better quality. So less tasks, higher quality. Not necessarily 18 tasks. They could, but all the 18 SDGs must be covered. So right now we can have the following stories. So one sub-story is in Saaremaa. This is a very separate story. We cannot connect it directly to anything else. Then one story is audiovisual media, and one story is traffic signs. And then there is the 4th story, and you would be mainly responsible for that one, because there is no specific story, no specific style that you have used so far. This is why you could take my list and create a story based on that. So finally, maybe we could have 4 trails which are interconnected. That means people play one trail, and at the end they get the code for another trail. And there are other SDGs. This would be the proper thing to do, because I see 4 different locations. Maybe there are even more. One location is Saaremaa, one location is Piritas River, one is Pirita Road, one is city center, and Favad started to create some tasks in Lasnamäe as well. And then from the other group, they are mainly in the city center. So maybe in the other group there would be 2 trails, and in your group 3 or 4. but also the number of tasks in each trail must be reasonable, so that there is not a trail only containing 2 tasks, which would not make much sense. From now on, we work both individually and as a group. So now you are 3 members in group 1. Some things you do individually and some things you do together. Validation we need to do together, but the stories you can create individually. And after alpha testing, I'm going to unite both groups, and then we would be a group of 6 members and do the rest as one group. Which means preparing for the final report and the external testing that would be that we can do all together. A while ago, I created this list, and at the end of this list, there are these 6 tasks that have not been created yet. I have assigned these tasks. These are the SDGs, and here are the names. So for you, 1, 2 tasks. No, 3. 3, yes. So these would be brand new tasks. We will leave some tasks. Maybe some tasks we need to remove. Most of the tasks need refinement, and there would be some new tasks. So that all the tasks would correspond to one structure. One structure that would be very clear and appealing to players. There have been problems with some tasks where the text is too complicated, even so complicated that I could not understand a thing. And there are also some good examples. Here are both. You see the column group. And some SDGs have been... Yes, Stella. No, this list I created before that suggestion that the SDGs could be covered by both groups. Yes, we can do it now. For instance, 7 is covered, 17 is not, it is covered, and 9 is also covered, 10 is covered, 18 is covered, and 2 is also covered. But it depends on the quality now. You see some SDGs that I have marked with warning text as red, they are duplicated. Some of them are appearing in multiple tasks. For instance, SDG number 1 is present in 1, 2, 3, 4 tasks. So maybe we choose the best one out of them 4, or we accept all of them and refine all of them. Yes, I did. I wanted to say something, but I was expecting you telling more, and then you suddenly stopped, and I had forgotten what I wanted to say about it. Oh, now I remember. Uh, do not worry about your project hours because they are pretty few so far. You should have at least 100 by January, but you have 68 reported. So you need to do a lot of more work anyway. It is rather about Vladimir, who has done most of the work, and we can involve him into task refinement and storytelling because he's the only one who has reached the quantitative goal so far. Uh, I dubbed it No, because you have been missing on so many meetings as well, and Vladimir was there almost every time. Um, so about reporting, I log the time when I am present, because then I know who was doing what and who was how long. But if there is an activity where I am not present, then I cannot know what you did, when you did, how long it took. So that part you should report yourself. I decided not to allow it anymore because it would also take additional time from me, and my project hours would be too many anyway. Uh, so it should be possible to find a common time. For instance, the next two playthroughs would be on Monday and on Tuesday. Just be there, play with us, and there would be no problem. There would be no other chance. I just would not have any additional time for that. And we need to do it all together, because then we can create many subgroups, and it is just more appealing, more interesting. It's also kind of competition. So if we have 3 groups, or at least 2. And even if you have missed 3 plays, then maybe it's 6 hours. It's not a huge amount of time, because each time it takes about 2 hours. Then there is one important thing that came up with people of the other group. So especially for the next 2 plays, you need to solve a riddle before you know the location where we meet. It can take time, so you can report that time on your own. Yes, we are talking about them. Exactly. Yes, at both places there is a parking lot. What do you mean city? Do you mean city center? Uh, so here is your hint, 8.5 kilometers from TLU. Yes. Mhm. They are all in Tallinn because I guess it was one of the first hikes. I was asking the same question from Vladimir and Merili did not agree to play outside Tallinn. That's why we are only playing in Tallinn. However, Tallinn is large. These places are also accessible by public transportation. So can I now start introducing this new method? So I have created this list of SDGs. All these SDGs, but the last one are covered. And so the first column is the number of SDG, the second one is the title of the SDG, then the third one is the source. Mainly I have used this source, Office 2022 Sustainable. Most of the statistical facts are from this source. And I can also show this source to you. It is a file having 380 pages. So it is this one, Sustainable Development in the European Union. There are nice statistical facts about European Union and with links to Eurostat, where we can get data. And there is usually also data about Estonia. And it's from the last year, so it's new and current. So, and the other sources are the ones that I have found that you had reported. Inside this table here, these ones that have a red background are grep sources, in my opinion. And the ones that have green background, they are accepted. And some have red warning text, so they can be used, but we need to be careful with them. I have also involved good sources here, and I have not involved any bad sources here. The main idea is to validate all the sources and facts now in this round, so that once all the facts and sources are accepted, we do not change them anymore, and we can build up the rest of the tasks upon these facts. Maybe we need to do some rearrangements in some tasks because of that, just to make the work more efficient and the tasks more clear. The next column is the fact. The fact is usually describing the current situation. And if I have found the goal set for 2030, then this goal is also written here. And for some expressions, keywords, I have also linked definitions. And the location column is for page numbers or minutes if it is a video, where the fact is written. And then for some SDGs, I came also up with a real world object. What could it be to visualize that fact? And the last column, studied, this is what you would fill in. This would be the stuff that you had studied during other courses at TLU. that you would connect to that particular SDG or fact with the code of the course, so that it would be just clear. And that part could be also the most problematic one, because I tried to include my own studied stuff for some facts, and sometimes it's easy. I can involve something from different parts of physics or chemistry, and there is a member in the other group. They have learned different methods on market research. However, he could not state how to connect that market research or these methods to the SDG. It just needs more thinking and concentration how to do that. Once you have the list, it is easier to connect, because then you just choose one. You have a list of at least 3 items, so you choose the one that fits the best. But this comes at a later part. So my imagination is that each task definition should start with stating what SDG it is. For instance, it's the SDG number 2, zero hunger. The next sentence should be describing the current problem, the current situation. And the next one could be a solution, which is usually the goal. And then comes the object or studied stuff or whatever that you can connect to that. So this is starting off with the fact, because I think this is the easiest part, because the players can figure out all the facts from distance. This is why we can just tell them the fact. But what they cannot do from distance is taking measurements from objects or taking some information from information points, like numbers or letters that are only available at a particular location, which hopefully is not visible using Google Maps Street View. So now I would like to go through this list and comment on these facts so that you would get a better overview what I'm talking about. I would start off with an example of how to connect 2 SDGs into one task, because we can do that. If several SDGs can be connected to one task, we could do that, because that would save time. So, for instance, zero hunger. I have figured out that more than half of Estonian population is overweight. This is an appealing fact. This was a surprise to me. I thought that it would be true for Australia or North America, but it is also true in Estonia. 56.7% of people are overweight. Here, people from the age 18 are counted. However, we cannot connect it directly to the hunger problem, because it turns out, here I have also links to almost everything. Hunger in Estonia, there is no hunger in Estonia. Estonia is in a green zone. There is no problem with hunger in Estonia. However, if these people who are overweight, maybe they are eating incorrectly, maybe they are eating unhealthy, maybe they are eating too much, and in other regions there is scarcity of food. So if these people could regulate their food habits, they would be less overweight, and there would be more food available for other regions where is the scarcity. However, being overweight creates other problems. Such people tend to have more diseases. And here is another fact from the next SDG, good health and well-being, that people in Estonia have 57.6 years in healthy condition to live. This prediction has been made for people who were born in 2019. So these are pretty new people. According to that prediction, they could only live 60 years in healthy condition in comparison to Norway, where the number is 80. And this is how we can connect these two SDGs. There is no hunger, but people are overweight. If they are not so much overweight, they can have more years in healthy condition. And there are also some other interesting facts. For instance, in Estonia, only 18% are smokers. I thought that there were more. So if I click it, then a Eurostat page opens. And we can compare what is the situation in Estonia to the situation in other regions. So we see that in Estonia, the percentage of smokers is 18. Where is it at least? In Sweden, only 7, but probably they are using a lot of snus. And where is it the largest? In Greece. I don't want to go to Greece. If everyone is smoking, there are 42% of people. And one student who was an exchange student in Croatia lately wrote in her blog that people would smoke everywhere in Croatia. And we see in Croatia there are twice as many smokers as in Estonia. So, and here, if you click download, you can get the full data set in your chosen format. And usually here in the upper part, there are explanations, there are definitions. Here it is described what has been measured exactly. Here it says population aged 15 years and over. And the data does not include use of other tobacco products such as electronic cigarettes and snuff. So, and there are also other interesting facts like how many people are affected by noise, how many people have lost their life because of air pollution of small particles. These two stats are for Europe, not for specifically in Estonia. And then I also thought how to connect it to an object. Do you know, close to the seashore in Tallinn, there is a path where people can walk with Nordic sticks. This is the street Reidi Road. Do you know Reidi Road? Reidi Tee. There are these new attractions like people can exercise outside and they can run and so such things. And there is also a green path which is softer, which is meant for walking with Nordic sticks. So we could just figure out what would be the average speed of a Nordic walker. Then the players could measure the length of the path, and they could calculate how long would it take to reach from one end to the other end of that path. And we could imagine that the length of that path could be projected as the length of years lived in healthy condition. And then we could also figure out the information, what would be the life expectancy, and compare to another path, or how much would be that path longer. So the end of the path would be then the years not in healthy condition. Or another option, we could use a parking lot where is set how much time one could park for free. And we could also project a visualization that that amount of time would be like minutes parked in a healthy condition, and how many more minutes would be the life or parking in that case in unhealthy condition. And I have not thought how to involve the studied stuff, the study field, to such a task. So this is one complex example of a clear task where they know what SDG it is, what it is about, what's the problem, what can we do to solve that issue, and they can also visualize the situation, as we did with the forest cut in comparison to Lillepi Park. Okay, then for each SDG I have marked one fact as green. This is, in my opinion, the best fact, but this is the subject for discussion. You could choose something else. And then there are some facts that are yellow. These facts are in use already by you, and they are good facts, in my opinion. So some more interesting examples here, like 40% of Estonian people have or are involved in tertiary education, but the goal is 45%. Then 5%, there's 5% physical and sexual violence to women. No goal is set. I have not found any goal. About 1/5 of people are at risk of poverty. And then there was that criterion that if more than 3 people are living inside a room, then that room would be overcrowded. Or 5.44 is water exploitation index. That means if the water exploitation index is 100, then it would mean that we would use all the water resources, or all the natural water resources. And if it would be 0, then we would not use any of them. So in Estonia, the situation is pretty good. So only 5% of water is used. Then what else? Then there was a fact that 38% is the share of renewable energy, and the goal for Europe is 32%. So in Estonia, that goal has been met already. However, there is a contradiction. One source that was used states that in Estonia, the goal was actually 50%, but the linked source stated 27%, and the source of that source not available. So I don't know which one is right. The difference is pretty large. Then I have also written down appealing facts about hydrogen. Oh, for instance, here, this is not linked to something, but this is the comparison how much more efficient is using hydrogen in comparison to natural gas or gasoline. And then there are also written 5 policies for the year 2030. And in some other sources, there are also chemical reactions written, and there are some calculations which can be used as well. Then about work and economic growth, about 1/10 of young people are neither in employment nor in education, although the goal is only 9%, so that goal has not been met yet. Then the share of buses and trains is about 1/10. Then about inequalities, you can imagine 40% of population, it's almost a half. And that almost a half of population is only earning 20% of income. Then 30% of municipal waste is the recycling rate, but it has to be 60. Then how much raw material are we consuming annually? It says 30 tons. Okay, then there is a fact about net greenhouse gas emissions, and another interesting fact that by 2050 there would be more plastic than fish in the ocean. And then in Estonia there are 30 sites with excellent water quality. And this is what we have talked a couple of months ago, how much forest is there in Estonia. Then how much crime is in Estonia. And finally, a huge goal that 100% of households have high-speed internet, and currently the rate is 73.4. And then there is the fact that each human in Estonia has this amount of settlement area. So it's about 1,500 square meters. And in order to visualize such thing, we could take any area and compare. So do you have this idea now, what I mean? Why did I create this list? Yes, and also in refining the current tasks. So as the next thing, I want you, each of you, to create a new wiki page and start telling your story. So Mary-Lee, your topic would probably be traffic signs. Vahan, you could use my list to interconnect all of the SDGs. And Vladimir could take the audio visual medium, but he's not here right now. So you start now, and then we spend about 15 minutes. Then I have a look, how is it going, and check whether you're on the right track. And if you're not, then I lead you to the right track. If you're on the right track, then you can continue on that right track. You start a wiki, and you start telling your main story. That main story is the trail. That involves all your tasks. Both. But you have done it already. So you involve the tasks in whose creation you have been involved so far, and you also involve the SDGs that have not been covered yet. So that you create first the main story, and then we fill in the gaps with tasks. So think where and how would you start, and start writing, and share your screen as well. And I have forgotten, we have had this meeting for more than 90 minutes already in a row, so it would be a good time to make a break for until 18:40. Do you want to have more? No or yes? Okay. So see you in 5 minutes then. I am back. How are you? Please share your screen. Merily, could you also share your screen, please? And no, in this story, you are not telling about yourself. Yes. I see that you are working with your first sentence. It is too soon to tell anything. So go on. I was wondering what connection have you made to Eesti Youth Center? Oh no, don't invent such things. Just use, if it is existing, then use it. If it does not, then do not invent. It is not necessary. Okay, let me ask this question this way. So who is actually creating the trail? So why do you not want to mention yourself then? Or us? Because we are the organization. Yes. I guess we can. We are non-governmental. or it depends. We are governing something. We are governing ourselves. As short as possible, because you need only you only want to include the main facts and make a story so that it is fluent, so it does not just jump from one fact to another one, but there is a connection, a direct connection. For instance, as I gave you an example with that zero hunger SDG, that we have discovered that there are so many people overweight. However, this does not affect the hunger state in Estonia, because there is no hunger in Estonia, but it affects the health of these people and so on. It's like walking down a path, having several locations at the path that are like points of interest. One leading to another. So that once your story is ready, we can cut that story into tasks. So it is like a bread, and once it is cut, then each slice is a task. Merily, how are you progressing with your screen sharing? Yeah, well, unfortunately, Jitsi does not want to show me anything else than a black screen. It sometimes happens. So Merily went away, and so went her screen sharing opportunity. Oh, now I see it. Now I see more than black. Merily, just start somewhere. Think where you want to start, at what location. Which task location would be the most reasonable to start at? I do not know. What is your first task? Oh, okay. But is it not somewhere? There were two tasks with electric box, or not? One is just electric box. But this is not this one. It is from one Petrosian. it's 5 electric box tasks. But it is close to these tasks that are connected to audiovisual media. And it is pretty far from Lillepi Park. So what story are you telling now? Are you telling the story of audiovisual media or the one with traffic? But it would be reasonable to involve 5 electric box tasks in the trail where are the other tasks that are at the same location. Because you can imagine that you do not want to just travel 1 or 2 kilometers to the next task location. Yes. Please rephrase the question. Yes. Yes, you can do that. let me suggest you Van to explain each acronym if you are using it for the first time. So, for instance, you have in the first sentence of the Sustainable Development Goals and put SDG in parentheses because later you mention SDG, but yes, there. Then it is clear what is meant by SDG. Yes. This is what you actually want to do. The part that you have created so far is a very appropriate introduction. And now think at what task location would you start the journey? All of them. Yes. I suggest starting with a task that you have created already. But you have, I see that you have written an introduction already. You are describing all these different tasks, but now you should think where you would start the journey. You just start off somewhere. You describe the task wholly, and once you are done with that task, then you move on to another location. So you start off somewhere. What do you think? What could be the starting point? Which task? What direction are you going now? The traffic or the audio visual media? The traffic, okay. So where do you want to start? Which location would make the most sense to start with? Okay. Mm-hmm. So then start describing the SDG that is connected to that task. Describe the current situation, maybe the goal itself, and then go on to the task content, what they can do at that location, what they can find out. Yes, this part that so the part that you are having right now is the introduction, and now you start describing that memorial task. Something like you have arrived at this location, and yes. Yes. Yes, I have also started to write my own example wiki page. So now I am watching at your screen. Which task are you referring to? I mean, you have written poverty leads to the most percentage of the population in X country. What can? Okay, if you want to use the fact about Estonia, then I have written it out. 22.2% at risk of poverty or social exclusion in Estonia. And then there are other statistical data here as well. For instance, 28.6% at risk of income poverty after social transfers, or 4.4% housing cost overburden. And there are also some used data. I guess Vlad has found it. More than 3 people living in one room means that the room is overcrowded. And then there is also the fact that 22.8% of people live in relative poverty in Estonia. Uh, I know. So you start with something that you have done. I guess I I guess that would be the best bit, not bit, the best bet, because you have thought them through already, and then you can add other SDGs once these SDGs are covered. So I see that you have been involved into the tasks 3 easy to calculate, Beavis and Math Head, electric box, information poster, citizen math, house, bus stop, the door, parking lot, ball, and that's it. So choose one of them as a starting point. I am just reading what is written in this table. Can you not? If some information is incorrect in this table, then please correct it. It's the task number 20, created by Fawad and Van. Yes. SDG 5 is gender equality. So he was so affected from my task that was about the traffic sign with a truck. So he wanted to have something similar, and the best thing he could came up with was throwing a toy car to the ground. But then later I see that he has changed the toy car to a ball. However, I cannot see the connection to a study field of one of yours, because none of you is studying physics. Please change it then accordingly in this table. This is the same file where you have seen these availabilities. And for SDG number 5 in the participation list, there is no information about you. It is about Merily and Vladimir. Yes, I can. You are showing open project. Yes. Yes, this is one table. This is the table for color coding the SDGs that were covered inside a subgroup. It's a great time to make another break until 1940. Merily, your screen share is off. Merily, you are writing that when you completed all the exercises, um, what exercises? How would they get number 62 and 38? Are they the door measurements? Can you please leave out the math part and write down only the SDG part, the fact part? Because I have a gut feeling that we need to change the math part as it has a too weak connection. Okay, I see the fact 38% of women are on the manager positions, but what is the connection to the traffic law, that 100? For granting right to drive motor vehicle, paragraph 100. I suggest you find a different connection that is a real connection. So you want to tell something about women in manager positions. So let us think how would we go from there on. So manager position could also be, as we say it in Estonian, a leading position. One can also lead or drive a car. So is there some data about how many women have a driving license in proportions. So here on my screen, I am showing a useful page on statistics that connected directly to SDGs. For instance, if we take here gender equality, and then we see some statistics on it. Gender equality index 61 points. And here is the pay gap 15%. And here I think you should revise the fact about 38% because here it says 41%. Yes. Oh, I see it already. McKinsey 2018. That data is probably global or something like that, but what I was relating here was Estonian data. That causes the difference. But this one is only a poster. It's just one page. But what is this? It has some metadata. I don't know what it is. It opens as this one. Some durations. What is this? I have to log in. eBook Central. Okay. Yeah, it requires a special software. Let me see, what page was it? Gender equality. Is it here? I guess it is not in this list. House. Oh, the source is missing here. This is why it is not present there. So I have no idea on what page that information is. Is it written here somewhere? I cannot even find the number 62 or 38. Do you not want to change it to Estonian data? Or do you want to have it as global data? Because if you would want to use it as Estonian data, then we have the source and 41%. What page is it? Page 5? The global gender gap will take 100 years to close, compared to 83 last year. How would you understand that allegation? Is the situation worse in comparison to the last year? So it says McKinsey 2018. The sources are not listed alphabetically. No, we cannot copy this address. Or can we? No, it did not copy anything. No, it is frozen. Page not found. Maybe go on with another task. I cannot find any useful information how we could connect the data about females on management positions with that house or traffic. Yes. Both groups. We will combine because we need all the trails anyway. They can do it. Some SDGs can be duplicated. Yes. What is the fact that you are using for SDG number 3? Okay, this is the task number 3, right? Please put the source information here, because otherwise I cannot check it. No, the reference to the source in my BIP. If it is 3 easy to calculate, I cannot find a wiki about it. Which is it then? Five electric box task or just electric box? Electric box. I found it. Blood pressure PDF. Do you have it? Do you have it in my BIP as well? To what goal is it connected? But what is the goal? The sub-goal? What is the goal that is connected to blood pressure? What is the problem actually? Yes. At what page is this information? I have found something at page 6, but page 1 is something that you cannot use because page 1 has introduction. Yes, select it. Yeah, but this is introduction. Introduction is not part of the research, of this current research. It can only be part of another research that this research is based on. According to the Joint National Committee 7. So what is that Joint National Committee 7? It is not mentioned here. I have found something. Are these the same data? Less than 120 and less than 80. Yes, I guess this source should better. 7th report of the Joint National Committee on Prevention, Detection, Evaluation and Treatment of High Blood Pressure. Page 12. It's the same information. It has more than 100 pages. Yes, I download it and then I upload it into Nextcloud so that I put it also into my BIB and take the reference from there. You find the exact address in OSF. All the links are there. it is either rules or task creation. No, it's in wiki. If you search for my beep with Control F, so it is not on this page, it is then in task creation. In wiki, there is the list of all the wiki pages, and there is a wiki page called task creation. So now look for my bib. Just open that task creation page and then look for my bib. It is in the list, yeah. Yes. What do you want to do now? Yes, I'm looking for something else because that number was 7. It was from the year 2004. It's quite old. But I have found the number 8 as well. And now I am trying to access it via EBSCO search. So here it is. However, where is the full text? Download. Could not be downloaded. Do I get it right that you want to state the fact that people have good health if their blood pressure is normal? Do you have a folder in Nextcloud for that task? It seems that you do not have. Create a folder in Nextcloud for this task, then I upload it here. So I have also added the reference to the source into the list of SDGs. I suggest finding another connection because these electrical data are really not connected to blood pressure in any way. If you want them to use this data, what we can read out here, the frequency 50 Hertz, then the voltage 230 volt, but what comes in is 400, so it will be transformed into 230, and the current is 400 amps. You can let them calculate the power, but then it would be in connection to the energy, clean energy. And if you want to make a connection to blood pressure, then what other object could be suitable for that? The unit is millimeters of quicksilver, which means you could use some poles with a certain height in order to illustrate it. For instance, you take a pole which has a certain height that would be proportionally like 120 units, and then 80 units would be 2/3 of the height of the pole, and they should calculate how much it would be. They could also calculate the height of the pole in order to visualize how much is the lower blood pressure out of the higher one. If you want to illustrate what blood pressure means. And what do you want to do? Anyway, you either change the object and the math part, or you need to change it anyway, because if you change the fact, then you need to adapt to the new fact. Rather use now these facts that are good facts. This fact is actually also good, and I have also that suggestion for you, but you need to go out and find a pole for that, and then take the measurement using the method of similar triangles. Maybe it depends how and what would you find there. Here I see there is something my med. I don't know what it is. My med Tallinn. Okay, found it. What is it? It's a clinic. It's the Center of Family Doctors. I cannot think of anything right now how to connect to any clinic. Yes, but the math part that you are presenting right now is not connected to. No, it's not. It's not related to anything because they are just some numbers. But I cannot see your screen. No. So just my suggestion is to find a pole and do the math on that pole in order to visualize the blood pressure. Of course, you can choose to do something else. Did you create that folder? But I cannot see it. There is, but you have created inside your Nextcloud. I cannot access your files part. Move it into room 4. Your screen is frozen now. It is black. Do so that it is inside room 4. Then I can see it. So you can just drag and drop into room 4. Now, you see that orange folder with a network icon. Below that folder. Yes. Okay, now the file is uploaded. You can also think later what you want to do with this task, but go on with other tasks. You have plenty of them. Just describe the fact part for now. The SDG and the fact part. Pardon? Yes. The story. Go on with your story. Merily, have you found meanwhile the information about the share of having driving license? Is there a building nearby? I mean, an office building or something like that. There is Hawaii Express Spirit. In your region, I was just thinking maybe counting windows of a building and then stating that 62%, was it 62 or something, 68 are filled with men and the rest is filled with women, in order to visualize these numbers. Something similar to the task that we had in the port. Remember, we had to count the windows of the hotel. It seems that the backside of Hawaii Express is not visible from Google Street View. So you could figure out whether there are windows on that side of the building, and then you could connect it as an object instead of that house that you have currently. On Sunday, yes. Yes, it is. Check it. So meanwhile, you could write your story to the end so that next time we could revise it together. Maybe leave out, yes, and leave out all the math. Include only information about SDG and the fact. And connect these tasks to each other so that the order is logical. So did you find it? You are in December, but we are in February. Yes. And what else you could write into the column of studied for each fact that you are using? How would you connect it to something that you have studied during one of the courses that you have taken at TLU with the code of the course? Yes. Yes. I will. Yes, and please keep in mind that the story is like a base for everything. So later we see how the content of the tasks would fit into that story, into different places. But these SDGs need to be connected for that. What do you mean in between? So it should be something like that. Now we have arrived at this location. Here we are teaching you about this SDG. The current situation is this, and the goal is that. This is how we could solve that problem. And you can do this measurement and calculate that one so that you can visualize how the situation looks like. And now we go on to the next location. Here we learn about the other SDG, and the current situation in this field looks as following. And in order to imagine that, you do these measurements here. So it's like walking through different locations that are connected to the tasks, but you do not have to mention these objects right now. But if you know how to connect some objects to these facts, then of course mention it, and write it also into the list of into this table here, into column objects. Yes. Päivan. Nii, vaatame siis korra peale sinu sellele story'le ka. Oo, sa oled nii palju vahepeal kirjutanud. sa oled selle salvestanud, eks ole, ma võtan selle siin Wikide loetelus lahti. My Story Merili. Näiteks ma jõudsin siin praegu 4. lõiguni. See tekst on kuidagi hüppeline praegu, et sa lihtsalt mainid mingisuguseid fakte, aga see ei ole nagu selline sujuv jutt. Et siin, mis siin on, et kuubi ruumala arvutatakse niimoodi, seda arvutatakse niimoodi, tihedus on selline. Ma teen ühe näite ka võib-olla täna veel, et milline see jutt võiks olla, et siis sa loed selle läbi ja saad kohendada enda seda. Ma vaatan veel üle need viimased 3 lõiku. No sa oled praegu kogu selle matemaatika siia sisse pannud, aga ma arvan, et seda matemaatika osa tuleks kohendada, sest need tunduvad olevat sellised, välja arvatud see metsa ja pargi oma, need teised asjad tunduvad olevat suvalised arvud, nagu see the answer you get now multiplied by 0.47211, et mis arv see selline on ja kuidas see on seotud. Ütleme, võib-olla kõige mõnusam jutu osa ongi see Lillepi-pargi punkt, kus on see metsa mahavõtmine ja pargi kaitsmine rulluisutajate eest. Jah. Palju sul üldse neid, ütle veel? Jaa, palju sul neid task'e kokku ongi siiamaani tehtud? Jaa, 5 jah. Ja need kõik 5 sa oled siin praegu ära ka maininud, eks? Proovi iga 5 kohta niimoodi kirjutada asi, et sa alustad kestliku arengu eesmärgist. Ehk siis tagurpidi, et sa paned kõigepealt info selle kestliku arengu eesmärgi kohta, siis mingi fakti, mis on sellega seotud, mis kirjeldab hetke olukorda ja võib-olla ka mingit eesmärki, kui on seatud aastaks 2030 või 50 või midagi sellist. Ja see muu osa, see matemaatika, selle vaatame, kuidas me pärast kohendame. Aga esialgu jah, et need STG-d oleksid oma vahel ühendatud. Et oleks nagu selline, nagu lähed lõbustusparki, võtad järjest neid atraktsioone, et lähed sellele karussellile, seal õpid seda, siis lased seal kuskil mööda Liumäge alla, seal õpid teist asja ja nii edasi. jah, ja ma arvan, et homme sa saad siis juba pilgu minu sellele näidisele peale visata, ma ei tee seda siia, ma teen seda OSF-i, selle nimi on Example Trail. Natuke jõudsin siin alustada, kaugele ei jõudnud. Vot. Siis meil järgmine on siis pühapäev, jah. Vaatan veel üle, et mis värk homme pidi olema, miks meil homme ei olnud. Lähed külla Eestile, jah. Nii, siin on, see on see pühapäevane, see on see praegune. Siis jaa, just. Et loodetavasti Vladimir on ka pühapäev platsis. Saab talle ka ette sööta. Jah, et kui need lood on olemas, saab selle matemaatika ka sinna paika ja siis on juba peaaegu need rajad olemas ka ja kõige lõpuks siis vaatab, kuidas need rajad omavahel lingitud saavad. Aga tegutsegem siis ja kohtume pühapäevas. Ja pühapäevani.